first and foremost, we'll get into the Liberal government's throne speech, which passed in the House of Commons without a vote, which is really, the way that Canada is being run right now. Let me just precursor whatever we discuss, is really, Canada is a political dumpster fire. The way that Canada is being run right now is so bizarre, so much skirting of, due process, of official processes, of things that we have held near and dear to our democratic little hearts for decades are just being casually disregarded. And so this, I would say, is another instance of that happening. So leader of the government, this comes from the National Post, leader of the government in the House of Commons, Steve McKinnon, would not say if his party had secured the support of other parties because this was done without a vote. Yet throne speech was adopted in the House of Commons Wednesday. And I don't remember the exact date, but Alexa, I think you were there during the throne speech, which was actually just King Charles, what is he, the third? He basically delivered Canada's throne speech, and you were there on the ground. Do you want to, for anybody who isn't familiar or would like to, kind of a flashback of that, what was the throne speech like?
It was really weird, I would say. A lot of people were present that day just to see the parade passing by, and we heard some bullet, like cannon, like going just before they started entering into the Senate. And so it was really weird because inside we were able to see people, politicians, but also native. But outside we had other native who were not invited, who were protesting against the king and what he was saying inside. And it was really divided into the crowd. The crowd was like either for abolishing the monarchy or they were loving the monarchy. So it was really special to see. That just represents who we are in Canada right now, like a really divided and polarized society where we have always like either I like or I dislike. And it's what I saw. And I was pretty surprised because when the king exited the Senate, he went to see the people in the crowd, and I was like, oh, he took the time to go and shake some hand and everything. He doesn't have to, but he did it, and a lot of people were really happy to shake the hand of the king. I kind of see him like really quickly, I would say, but yeah, mainly. I was able to ask a couple of questions to the Bloc Québécois, who say that they will not be there during the throne speech. I don't know if they did because it seemed like they wanted to vote against the throne speech. And I'm pretty surprised that actually it passed because NDP say they will not vote for it, the Bloc, and obviously the Conservatives. So how come the throne speech passed?
I've been kind of mulling over that question, and I think I would wager to bet. I mean, all the parties recognize that Canadians don't want another election. This is our second snap election in as many years. Well, just over 2 years. We've had two snap elections in the last 3 years. The first one was in 2021, when then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau campaigned on the wedge issue of COVID-19 vaccines and subsequent mandates that were implemented by his government. And so Canadians don't want another election. I mean, this costs us millions, if not billions of dollars to have and run elections. And Parliament breaks for summer recess in just a couple of weeks. And so I would say none of them want to continue campaigning once again after just finishing campaigning, after, sitting for just under 4 years after the last snap election. And they don't want to go and interfere with their summer vacation. So this is a really kind of sneaky way to say, you know what, we're just hitting the brakes. We're letting the status quo head on through the summer. And very likely this topic and situation of another election will be rehashed during the fall September session. I believe they come back September the 20th. That's my guess. But But yeah, it's very clear that Carney doesn't have the support of the other governments, and the NDP claims that they are now no longer backing the Liberals, which was, a stark shift of where they were just mere 6 months ago, when they had this unofficial coalition with their supply confidence agreement with the Liberals. But of course, the NDP, it doesn't even have party status at this point. That's not to say they don't have a sway in the House of Commons, but they no longer have party status, I think, because of the way they were being led by former leader Jagmeet Singh. But anyway, getting back to the throne speech, which was delivered by King Charles III. And one thing that we wanted to point out here was his reinforcement of the state broadcaster, the CBC. Maybe we can just throw to that quick clip.
The French language and the Quebec culture are at the heart of the Canadian identity. They define the country that Canadians and I love so much. Canada is a country that respects and celebrates its official languages and Indigenous languages. The government is determined to protect the institutions that bring these cultures and this identity to the world, such as CBC, Radio-Canada. The French language.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I know. I think it mainly why, and like everybody knows that it was not his speech, it was the Carney speech. But first of all, Carney know that the king visit was not well received in Quebec. So he had to do something. And he know that in Quebec, the culture and everybody is saying that Radio-Canada is kind of like the mother of Canadian Quebecer culture. I would say, no, it's untrue. But he had to do something to bring Quebecer to not be too pissed off of the visit of the king. And I think that part was mainly for saying, okay, we need to do something for the Quebecer. So we like make him saying something for saying to Quebecer, we love you, we respect you, and we are there for you, you know?
Yeah, and it's so strange that the throne speech passed in the House of Commons, because just yesterday we had NDP leader Don Davies saying that absolutely not. They will be voting no against it. Have a look at this.
And yet the throne speech doesn't even mention the words healthcare. You won't even find those words in the throne speech. There is no mention of non-market housing, cooperative housing, or housing for Indigenous people, some of the most acute needs in this country when it comes to affordable housing. And it foreshadows $28 billion in cuts that will absolutely hurt working people across this country. So we will be voting no against the throne speech, and making sure that the interests of working people across this country are reflected, and we'll continue to fight for those measures that we know that so many millions of Canadians and working families need in this country.
Yeah. So that didn't really come to fruition, but we don't really know because there wasn't a recorded vote. So we don't know who voted for and against. And that's another skirting of the democratic process. I mean, it's not that it's not allowed, but it's definitely a slap in the face to Canadians who would, in the majority, not support this government. And Liberal MP came on Power and Politics last night, or sorry, I think it was just last night when this did pass, and made excuses for why a recorded vote could not have been held.
if they
I
weren't there
find-
earlier in the week.
Well, let's just be clear. The ministers that were in that particular meeting that you mentioned still voted. We have the ability to
Right.
vote remotely.
Right.
And it's important to stress, and I know you already did, but all of the votes that we were counting on earlier this week were delivered upon. We have 169 members, we have one speaker, and we had 4 members that were paired. And for those that don't know, pairing a vote is when we have a minister that's traveling out of country. They will bring another member from the opposition party with them to nullify the loss in one vote.
Right, so the math doesn't change
The math
because of
doesn't
the
change.
business of government.
So in all 3 votes we've had in Parliament so far, we have had all of the numbers that we were expecting, and we have had absolutely 0 people not vote. So it comes back to what you said, which is that this is a minority parliament. This is the math is the math, and we did have a vote earlier. We respect the wishes of Parliament. It was an amendment to the bill, a non-binding amendment. We respect that, and we move forward under that. That is what a minority parliament is supposed to do, and that's exactly what's functioning earlier this week and today.
Okay.
For a mere couple weeks until they go on summer recess and enjoy 2 months off of any sort of official parliamentary business.
Let's face it, Canada's economy isn't heading in the right direction. Inflation's eating away your savings, and government debt is out of control. No politician is going to fix that overnight. With Guildhall Wealth, you can hold real physical gold and silver inside your RRSP. It's a time-tested way to protect your retirement and take back control of your wealth. Call 1-877-8-SILVER or visit guildhallwealth.com/rebel to request your free investor kit. And hey, make sure to mention Rebel News.